Speaking of hating things.
Yeah, good transition.
Misinformation and Nintendo negativity. Let me go ahead and switch up the banner here so we have the right topic showing. All right. So, read off what I wrote here. Since the Switch 2 had its first direct in April, the console and the games on it, even Nintendo themselves, have been surrounded in misinformation and negativity. Some possibly justified, others just incorrect altogether. A recent example was a quote from Miyamoto, where it basically boiled down to him saying, games don't last, but movies do. Paraphrasing, of course. The point was, it spread like wildfire, but it turns out, no, that's not what he actually said. This is one of many pieces of misinformation that have been happening online. $90 games aren't a thing. Nintendo is apparently going to brick everyone's consoles, except that's not a new policy, and they don't actually brick your systems.
And they're not the only one to do it, too.
Yeah, well, of course. But that's, again, when you bring up a point like that, Eric, that's not really relevant to talk about Nintendo.
No, I know.
It's relevant to, they didn't bitch about it for other companies.
No, I know.
But they're bitching about it for it. That's
Yep, no, I know.
part of the conversation.
That was my point.
Yeah, okay. All right. Beyond this, of course, is the negativity. It's everywhere. It's in every comment section, all over social media. If you use the internet a certain way, you are being told that Nintendo and Switch 2 are greedy, the system itself sucks, and no one's really buying it but shills, which, by the way, professional Nintendo shill over here. If you are enjoying anything to do with Switch 2, you're just a shill. It's impossible to enjoy it otherwise. The games all suck, everything is overpriced, and Nintendo's ruining the gaming industry. Obviously, the conversation is a bit more nuanced than that. So, what are your thoughts on all of this? Why do we think it's happening to the degree that it is? Do we think there's any truth to any of the criticisms, negativity, all that? And do we think this sentiment is going to go away someday? I'm going to toss it over to Sunbro because I know he's on the clock here. He's got about a half hour left. So a topic specifically I wanted to bring up because he was going to be on. So Sunbro, go, buddy.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on this one because I actually think it's multifaceted. I don't think it's just one. So first of all, to paint as much as I personally am enjoying the Switch 2 generation thoroughly so far. Okay, so let me say that before I dive into all this other stuff. That said, I think I see at least some of the reason, or maybe it's my speculation for the reason why there is as much of a wildfire train of hate that rolls at Nintendo's doorstep every single day, and we feel it as content creators. We probably see it in the like to dislike ratios in our videos when we're generally more positive about something that the rest of the internet is very negative towards. And these negativity videos are gaining not just a little bit of steam, but significant traction. And it does feel like the masses of the internet have more or less put their backlash towards Nintendo to a level where it would make you think that this company, if you were just living in this internet bubble that we exist in on YouTube, it would look like from the outside looking in that this company is like made all the worst mistakes and are doomed to fail this generation, or that we're going to be on some kind of repeat train of maybe talking about, a little bit more than the Wii U and console sales. Well, first of all, part of that is the fact that we are in an internet bubble, but there's no doubt that the internet bubble that we are in is very negative towards Nintendo right now. So part of the reason I think that is because it's really a broader issue going on in probably about anybody's cost of living period. And this did come out at $50 higher of a price point than I think a lot of people were expecting it to be. I think $400 was the price that initially people were expecting. Then you had Mario Kart World, and that was an $80 MSRP game. And somehow, because of the, I think, Insider Gaming article that translated the UK price of physical, it got pushed out there that it's going to be 80 digital and 90 physical, and Nintendo's charging $90 for their games. Okay, then people start reading through terms and conditions of Nintendo's policies with what they can do with the console. If you mod it, you take it online and stuff like that, which is really not different than anything they've had in their terms and conditions or what other console manufacturers have in their terms and conditions to begin with. But that's another double down. Meanwhile, you have a Pal World lawsuit, which, to be fair, no good look around that. Nintendo just coming after a game developer for using a somewhat similar catching mechanic or whatever the exact infringement was. Well, then that gained steam into there was some other weird patent that they had that people thought that now they've patented the ability to summon Pokemon or summon a character in. And that turned out not to be accurate at all, or even what Nintendo was fighting their patent on or patenting, period. So there's this misinformation thing, but then there's this frustration of how expensive everything is getting. And my suspicion is there's a lot of people who maybe wanted to check out the Switch 2, but they're seeing some of the price points. They have some hesitation around, should I spend that much on a console if everything else is so expensive right now? And there's a lot of just general frustration towards things going up. And Microsoft seeing it right now with Game Pass and the console prices that they've pushed up. But here's where I think we're headed long term, and then we'll break down some of the nitty gritty. But I think Nintendo right now is facing the waves kind of at the forefront of all of this price and companies doing shitty practices, legally or whatever the case. They're kind of at the forefront of all this. And then we forget that Sony and Microsoft, when their consoles came out and even the PS5 Pro got announced and it was so expensive, so many people just passed up it. With these other companies, they get that initial wave and then the market kind of settles, and we're seeing it right now with Xbox double price increasing. Sony went up 50 also. Pretty soon that $450 price point is going to look like what the $300 Switch did. And all of this going on also while Nintendo has a huge portion of their fan base that, let's just say it, are hardcore Mario and they're waiting for the next 3D Mario, or hardcore Zelda and they want the next exclusive 3D Zelda, or hardcore Animal Crossing or hardcore Smash Bros. And some Nintendo fans are literally going to wait to get into this console generation until that game is there for them. And I think whenever all this stuff is happening, that's like my speculation for the reason why we're seeing the numbers we are online with some of the hate towards Nintendo. People who took the plunge, however, and this is what's interesting because I see it in all these videos, and I don't watch many of them because I get many of the negativity train videos where you can just tell it's like Miyamoto smiling evil and, like devil eyes. Like you can tell pretty quick that it's not a nuanced discussion. It's just, we want to paint this corporation as the ultimate evil bad guy. And that's where the conversation's going. But almost everybody in the comments is talking about how they gave up on Nintendo years ago. Nobody that is actually angry is like, I have a Switch 2 and I'm playing these games that are coming out and I hate this company. Nobody's saying that. People are saying like, I can't believe what Nintendo did this generation. They screwed up everything, but they haven't actually given a chance to the new generation that they've kicked off. And if they did, they would see a lot of the discourse online that has blown up into these massive topics. When you peel behind the layers, they are not really as controversial as you would have them appear to be in your head. And there's some decisions that I will not defend at all. I personally, as a lifelong physical collector, I hate the game key card. But I also know that that's not Nintendo. It is Nintendo, to be clear. But that's them having like this bridge where they're extending an olive branch to third-party devs for this generation, where we're falling off of a cliff with physical games anyway. And I'm ready for the next PlayStation and Xbox to maybe not support them. And hopefully PlayStation does, but I could also see them only supporting their disk drive for backwards compatibility. Like, I get that's where we're headed. The game key card I do not like for this generation. So I have my own critiques of this generation, but my idea is there's such a small percentage of people that bought a Switch 2 and are actually interacting and or have that mindset of this is a terrible generation for Nintendo, because it very much seems to be the people who are on the fence and are frustrated with price points and frustrated with some of the decisions they've seen and misinformation they've seen presented to them online. So that's my initial 2 cents on it, but you guys, chime in with whatever you guys think, and I would love to keep it going back and forth.
Okay. Let's throw it over to our other guest, Lamb.
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. I think the biggest starter of this all is that, one, in the real world, there's a growing economic stress on most people in the world at this moment, especially in America, right? Two, I think Nintendo's I do think Nintendo fumbled when they launched the Switch in terms of their lack of transparency on the price and not quelling the misinformation that spiraled from that initial release. They didn't say anything in the direct. You didn't see it on Twitter. You didn't see it anywhere until they put it on their website. What was it, like an hour or so after that initial direct or something like that? And it was just baffling to me. I was like, why, if it's a Switch 2 direct, I feel like the price is just such a really important point. And I feel like that's something you just kind of have to say those things with your chest. And because even at the end of the day, if that price increase is going to upset people, at least being transparent about it and saying, this is what it's going to be, instead of like putting it on the website quietly after the fact. I think that really did a lot of damage. I think it did a lot of PR damage that I don't think that they're, maybe they are aware of, maybe they're not. I'm not sure. But the other piece of it is like, it feels like a grift campaign. Like, genuinely, it feels like a grift that like people are just trying to either capitalize on this and they want to continue to spread this like this hate towards Nintendo, when arguably Nintendo is the one propping the industry up right now in some capacity, other than indie developers. I feel like there's just, you hear every other day, last time I was on, we were talking about this with Rogers Base. There's layoffs at the big studios left, right, and center, and there's constant, the big companies just aren't keeping up, but I feel like Nintendo, when while it might be a little overpriced, I feel like 9 times out of 10, when you get a Nintendo game, the quality's there, that you're not getting stiffed. I don't know. That's just me. Like, I just feel like you pay for what you get. So,
and we have a release schedule where games are actually coming out pretty consistently.
Yeah. No, for real. Like with the PS5, respectfully, what the fuck am I playing on a PS5? Like, I'm playing Final Fantasy, maybe Ratchet and Clank, and
Well, yeah,
but that was over the course of the past fucking 10 years or however how long that console's been out. Like, that's 3 games.
On the exclusive side, Sony's dropped the ball, and a lot of that was their initiative to like, oh, we've got this 5-year plan to release 10 games of live service, which is the most like biggest fu to your consumers ever. But obviously, because it's Sony, it's not going to get as much hate, and people aren't going to cover it at the same length. I think part of this is like, I think part of it is that like Nintendo's been at the top over the last generation. I mean, just the Switch 1 sales in general. And I think that does put a big target, and people will hold it to an unrealistic standard. I mean, first off, it's the fastest selling Nintendo console right now. So anyone saying that the console's doomed right now, it's purely a grift. There's no fact. That's all bullshit, and it's all fake. Listen, if you want to have a conversation, if numbers come out that like it wildly underperformed during holiday, the most crucial time of year for console sales, then maybe there's room to have a discussion there. What's going on with Switch 2? Did it come anywhere near what most consoles sell during the holiday? Is the console in trouble? What can Nintendo like? There's a conversation there. Anything that you talk about the console being doomed right now is bullshit and made up, and it's just for clicks and attention. I mean, guys, there's a lot of mental illness out there. We live in a very disturbed world. There's a lot of mentally ill people out there. I mean, I talk a little bit about this in my Pokemon video that I dropped the other day. I actually quoted Thunderstash, and he kind of said this today. It's the saying, it's not that serious, guys. It's video games. It's literally video games. Yep. And you see half these videos, it's like so obviously a grift. Half these people, they don't even make their own thumbnails. It's AI generated thumbnails. Their scripts are AI generated. They're literally giving Chat GPT a topic and just write me a script that hates Switch 2 and says it's screwed and hates consumers. That's like what's happening. So all the people feeding into that, you're just throwing your money at Chat GPT videos. That's all you're doing. But listen, Nintendo's not a perfect company.
Exactly.
They are a company, and they're going to make decisions based on business and profit, like most companies do. They're going to make decisions that are favorable towards shareholders. And while there's plenty to critique about their messaging, I don't think we've gotten anything in regards to Mario Kart World that tells me, oh, this is why it was $80. So I totally hear the criticism there. The why is this game $80, but a game like Donkey Kong Bonanza is only $70. I'm not really sure personally, and I'm sure more content's coming to Mario Kart World, although I doubt for free. So there is stuff to critique. I think the console is at a very fair price personally, and I think people are gonna probably feel that more when we get PS6 and whatever comes next from Xbox. I mean that new ROG Ally X Series, Xbox Ally Series ROG X Series
Again,
1
botch
is
the naming again.
Yeah.
How'd
is
they botch it twice?
$1,000.
With
So,
the
yeah, it
Series
might
S
be-
and X and 1X and 1S bullshit?
Right.
What's what?
So it might be way more powerful, but it's also $1,000, and it's also a device that's actually going to require probably some troubleshooting depending on what you're downloading and playing. It's not a
hang
device
on.
that you just
Hang on, Gamebird. There's a low end one for $600. It doesn't come with a dock, but they sell it for $600. So just
that's the
remember that.
There you go.
And that's the craziest part to me about all of this is that I think all of gaming has gone up in price, but Nintendo is still the budget option at the end of the day. Like genuinely,
Yeah.
like they bitch and moan about it,
Well,
but they're the. And
that
you're
was
gonna
my
get-
point.
I don't
That Nintendo was at the forefront of this wave, but
Yes.
as they stood still, all the other companies
The rest
rose
of it.
around them.
They opened the
and
door
they once
for 'em.
again
Right.
are the budget. Like it's just they were first out there.
Right. And here's the thing. I think if let's just say that PlayStation 5 was at like 154 million right now. It's like right there with Switch. It's guaranteed to surpass it. I think people would be making these same videos about Sony. I do think crushing the market affects it, but I don't think Nintendo's a perfect company. I think there's tons of stuff to criticize all of these companies for. Nintendo's not excluded at all, dude. I was so tired of things from Nintendo being packaged with some sort of apology. I think they've made a lot of strides forward, but there's still a lot of stuff that leaves me scratching my head. Messaging was huge. They really dropped the ball with messaging. There's a lot of negative backlash that could have been avoided just by being straight up in that direct about pricing and not letting people just run away online with $90 games, which literally doesn't exist. Really funny. And the other weird thing too is there's a lot of games that get DLC, but you don't see like floods of videos saying like this game cost $150. You'll see it when like Ubisoft does like Star Wars Outlaws, and it's like there's like 7 versions of the game and stuff, and it goes up to $200 for the full experience. Yeah, you'll see it then, but dude, it is so commonplace. I don't like when we get like day one DLC or day one announced DLC. I never like it, but it's so funny that like the amount of videos about that with Pokemon when it's so commonplace and you just don't hear it with other titles. And then I want to share something on screen real quick. We have this quote from Miyamoto that caused quite the stir. Nate, would you mind reading this quote for me? I'm pulling it up right now. Would you mind reading this for me? This has the whole internet up in arms, saying that Miyamoto's insensitive.
Really? This is
Oh yeah, I saw this too, dude. Unbelievable.
Mario was based on an Italian man I saw die in an accident on a construction site. I thought to myself, what if that man had been killed by a gorilla rather than negligence?
That rocks.
Yeah, and that's how the original Mario was created.
I almost wish that was true. Holy shit, that's so funny.
That'd be a killer origin story.
I just wanted to pull up that stupid fake people. God, I hope that doesn't explode. This is going to be on all the Grift videos.
Clip us, put us viral.
Yeah.
Make us viral.
Oh man, but no, it's such a nothing burger. like the Miyamoto thing. It's so ridiculous. And poor Miyamoto, dude. Like the saddest, like the guy who asked companies like way back when like microtransactions were a thing. If I remember correctly, he was like telling like companies, "Oh, please don't nickel and dime customers." And he's just like a happy guy who just cares about fun, the whole experience of fun and happiness. Like, dude, this poor man with all these AI thumbnails of him as like a demonic presence, as if he's the one who's like making the like, we're gonna charge this much. We're doing day one DLC for Pokemon, or I'm out of here. So
You know,
I don't know.
Miyamoto's in the thumbnail for this show. I should have made him demonic. My bad.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta have
listen,
that fake evil smile that's stretched out. You know,
Yeah.
you know the one.
Yeah.
the last point I'll make is, again, I want to double down. There's a lot of mentally ill people out there.
How many times have I talked to you about that?
Oh yeah, dude.
It's serious.
It's
You know, like
epidemic.
it's serious. I don't
Yeah.
we don't make light of it, but
As I'm
it's
laughing,
important to be aware of it.
unfortunately.
It's
Yeah.
dead serious.
It's crazy. And like, despite the griefs that I do have with Nintendo's, at the end of the day, it is just video games. And in a lot of ways, in a generation of gaming where so much of the releases we see are about chasing that games as service, chasing those paid for battle passes in the cash shops right when you boot up the game, I really do feel like, and I hope it stays like this, for at least a while, at least a few more generations. I feel like Nintendo's kind of like the last beacon of hope for like complete single player experiences. Everything is about how do we keep people in our cash shops? How do we keep people forking over change? Yeah, you have a DLC that's coming out for Pokemon, but at least you're not being charged 10, 15, 20. I mean, some of these games are $20 every 3 months. Or you're being locked out of content, both story content. I mean, you have games like, and I'm a huge Diablo fan. You have games like Diablo now with like their season passes and their shops. Like their armor sets used to be so cool that you could get in game. Now it's like the ones that they launch in game, even in the new seasons, are generic as hell. And if you want something with cool particle effects and unique looks that make you stand out, it's only even in the battle pass, they're not even that good. You have to pay like $25 for one outfit in a cash shop. That's the world we're living in. Like even with Sony, man, no matter how many shutdown companies and failures, it's like they had a hit with Helldivers. Focus on that. Make that was your hit. That was your lightning in a bottle. Make it the best game you can. Why do we have more? Why are we have Marathon? And there's more than that. And I don't know. It's just so egregious. It's so anti what we want that at the very least we should celebrate positives when they happen. Nintendo's not, at least not yet, hasn't gone down that route. Who knows? I mean, if Mario Kart World launched and had seasons and battle passes that you pay for, and a cash shop in the menu, and then that turned out to be the case for Smash Brothers and Animal Crossing, and then they're like, oh well, we want to make the next Zelda game a games as service where everyone logs into a hub Hyrule town, and yeah, obviously there's a place for a cool online experience in games. I'm not saying there's not a place for that, but I don't know.
That's a really,
I've rambled. You guys get the point.
Well, yeah, and I know everybody else needs to go too, but I was just going to say on that last point real quick, that is really one of the things that I think, while I never want to see a price increase across the board on games, especially whenever it never feels good to pay more for something. Like obviously the less the better. Metroid Prime Remastered was probably the best $40 I've spent in recent memory. That was a fantastic price game. I was happy to pay it for the amount of content, but one thing that I will say eases the blow of a price increase with Nintendo when they do it to 70 for standard games, or they do it to 80 for one-off mega franchises like Mario Kart, is the fact that they're one of the few companies that you can still bank on pretty much all their first-party published stuff is actually a complete game that is not it doesn't require for you to spend more to get the content you want out of it. We haven't seen them go that skin and live service route heavily to be, if at all. The one thing I will say that scares me a little bit, as much as I want to give them kudos on that, these Mario sports games are launching with bare bones stuff and then having like free content updates to like finish the. I'm not a fan of that. I'd much rather wait for the stuff just to be there and don't try to loop me into like replaying the game every 3 to 6 months with a new free update. Granted, those games don't have crazy DLC packs or anything like that, so it's not like they're really making that much more money. They're just drip feeding the content for some reason. But yeah, all that said, I still think if you do just apples to apples compare it with what's going on in the gaming industry, especially with live service stuff and skins and battle passes and seasons, it's just, we still can buy a $70 cartridge like Donkey Kong Bonanza, spend 50 hours, or I don't know, maybe I clocked in 40 hours on that game because I haven't bought the DLC for it. But you know, that was so, I enjoyed my time with that through and through. Got a great story, got great platforming, got just good fun. And then I can set it down and I can replay it and I can go 100% it later on. Like that's what I want from games. And I think Nintendo might be the last company that sticks to that traditional format for long term.
Yep.
Sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully long term.
Hopefully
I'm hoping,
long
knocking
term.
on wood.
Yeah.
Dude, I will. As much as I love Nintendo games, the day I boot up a Zelda and there's a cash shop and battle pass and seasons will be the day I shed tears and be like, "What's happened? What's happened to this hobby I love so much?" But anyways, that's my 2 cents. I know I ranted, but y'all people out there need help, dude.
The ones making the content, they need help. And then everybody else who's just sad about the prices. I get it. It's tough times, man.
Yeah. Prices.
I get it.
No, I agree. No, and guys, I'm just having fun. You don't actually need help. Do whatever you want. I don't care that much. It's just funny to see all that out there.
Prime, he looks like he's biting his tongue over there. Let him go.
Yeah.
Let him out. Let him loose.
No, I'm biting my tongue because if I say half the shit the Gamer just said, I am clipped
and shit, baby.
Tomorrow. I will be putting the 70 videos tomorrow and be trending, but not for my own content.
Let's go viral.
Thunderstash.
Send it.
What do you think about this stuff, man?
Okay. I got a couple things. Like I kind of touched on it a little bit before, but all these people saw, in my opinion, how popular Nintendo was last gen, and they see that it's on its way to being the best-selling console of all time. And that nothing, in my opinion, and I believe this is what they believe, is going to change with their popularity trajectory of their IPs, thanks to the movies. Again, the Mario movie currently ranks as the third highest grossing animated film globally of all time, with 1.36 billion. They're not Disney. They're not Pixar. This is Nintendo. This is Nintendo's IP. And they just went into someone else's house and fucked everybody up. That's basically what happened. They went to someone else's house and whooped their ass. Because their house is not Hollywood. Take 1993, the Mario Brothers movie. I personally love it. We've all talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
However, it took them how long, right, to come back to Hollywood, and they went in there and they took everyone's lunch. I think a lot of people see that, opportunists, so to speak. And these opportunists want a piece of that pie. And many chose, first off, how many Nintendo content creators are there? I don't know the number, but it's a lot. Okay? It's a lot. It's a ton. It's more than the other two. So what do they say to themselves? Okay, well shit. It's already hard enough to get into YouTube gaming and last and actually become monetized and be somebody, right? So these people say, you know what? I will be the anti to all of these positive people, all these Nintendo people. I will go complete opposite and be the villain. And I will feed into all of the negativity. I'll create it. And then I'll let people come to my house, my YouTube channel, and feast on it And this is exactly what they do. There's people like this in real life. Again, I've known people, I've had employees like this who literally thrive on negativity. And if there isn't any, they try to create it, AKA create drama that doesn't need to exist. Okay, this is what the internet is. A lot of the times in a nutshell. You know, I can go back to the phrase chronic complainers that I'll use probably till my deathbed. But again, there's people that feed on negativity, literally, and sadly, the internet is an echo chamber cesspool for it. That is what we see here. I don't believe in this horse shit. If somebody, again, Gamebird, you mentioned it, that I always say it's just video games, man. And it is. So if someone actually feels all of this hate, right, and these strong feelings towards video games and towards Nintendo, I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. But if you really do feel that way, yes, I do think you have some mental health issues, like some serious ass ones that, you know, you should try to get your life right. Honestly, like this is dead serious, not making light of anybody. And
100%, dude. As I said, I hate the shitty microtransactions and battle pass, like armor sets
who
that
likes
are 25, $30. But guess what? If you buy it, I could care less, dude. I'm not gonna go on and make a video.
Would you
Yeah,
go up
right.
to someone at the grocery
saying that
store and
you're-
question what's in their cart?
No, for real. No, for real. Thank
Right,
you.
though?
It's like so gnarly, dude.
It's the same thing. Like, oh, you're buying organic. Yeah, you can just buy
like-
this for less.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's my money. Why do you care? Get out of my
Yeah.
cart. You
I'm
know what
not.
saying?
If it's not actively harming you or anybody else, then like who gives a shit?
Yeah, that goes for a lot of things in life, right? Like
Mhm.
you don't need to be
Mind your
poking
own
your nose
fucking
in other
business.
people's business, man.
Yeah.
People live, and the same thing goes for how you spend money, and it's absolutely wild. But I think at the end of the day, this is driven by, you know, the almighty evil, and that's money. It's all driven by greed and money, and people wanting to make $1 off Nintendo by spewing hate about them because, you know what? There's too many people talking good about it. You always need a positive and negative. Sadly, though, in the internet space and in the space of YouTube, and I've been saying this for years, talked to a lot of people I know, but I've said that a lot of the world's going in the wrong direction rapidly, and there's no one standing there with a stop sign saying, stop, you're going the wrong way. Like, if we keep going this way, it's going to get worse, and we're never going to be able to dig ourselves out of this hole. We see a lot of it on display on the internet. Because if you don't leave your house and you only see so much in your local town, right? And you only maybe go to the gym and you go to work and you go to the grocery store, you don't see it that much. But on the internet, it's very magnified and you definitely see it. And I think, you know, Nintendo's obviously become the target of that, right? And so when I see all this negative stuff, you know, like, look, all of my shorts, I have shorts that go out on other social media. I use a scheduling tool, you know, I have a program. I don't actually go on the website and upload my short or my reel. I don't do that. And I see all the comments come in and I see people say shit. And the thing is that if this was real life, they'd never say it to my face. So I don't care. And I could care less if you don't agree. That's fine, man. Live your life. Okay. To touch on the part about Miyamoto's quote. Look, I saw this quote and I want to tell you guys my immediate intuition, not even thinking, is this is complete bullshit. This quote's not real. 100% didn't even have to think about it because he would never say that. Look, this coming from someone who has been reading his interviews literally since the early 90s. I feel like I know the guy. I feel like I could sit down and talk with him and we would get along. I feel like I definitely understand how he operates. And he would never say that. And like, look, it was even funny too, because I read that. I'm like, this is bullshit. And I look at my Mario Galaxy review, my thumbnail. My thumbnail text literally says, "Greatness doesn't expire." And my title is, "There's no expiration date on greatness." What I had just said is the complete opposite of what Miyamoto apparently said. And I'm like, there's no way he said that. Absolutely none. Because honestly, if you think about this quote, guys, remove Miyamoto from this mistranslated quote and say it's some random YouTuber who talks shit about Nintendo. Would you give it any time? Would you even look twice at it? Or would you just say that guy's a moron? But because it was Miyamoto, people stopped and thought about it. And that's why I was like, this is complete bullshit. This is not him. This is not what he said. He would never say that because it actually makes no sense whatsoever. Like, think about that quote. That quote makes no sense. And that's why I would not touch retweeting it, because I'm like, this is bullshit. He would never say that. Ever. Really? The guy who's literally the GOAT of video games. He's the GOAT. He's the MJ. He's the Brady. He always will be. It'll probably never be touched. Certainly not in our lifetime. I don't know if ever. He would never go out and say that Hollywood, essentially movies, is better and more timeless, because it's not. What are you talking about? So that's how I feel about that. Gamebird, did I answer everything? Was that all
You
of
just
it?
nodded and said,
Hmm.
"Your words
Yeah,
will be
make
good
sure.
at the podcast."
Yeah,
wanna make sure.
absolutely.
Mm.
He's jumping on some nachos, I think. So
Okay.
Well, guys,
I was
Oh,
having some
you know what?
notes here.
I got
Yeah.
one more piece I do want to say. Here's one thing, and this is about pricing and whatnot. Look, again, that video I made for Mario Galaxy, I think I was crystal clear in the review. I think it's a good deal. And I compared it to a lot of things. I'm like, look, people don't have to compare. They don't have to look at finances the way I did. And it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter that, you know, I worked with billions of dollars, right, in mortgage and managed people's money. It doesn't matter. People don't give a shit. Okay. They have their opinions. I have mine. They can choose to learn from it, or I can choose to learn from them, right? This is how the world works. So people are going to disagree, but as a fan of everything Nintendo does, okay, I need Nintendo to operate like a company that wants to make profits and put those profits back into research and development. And that's what they do. And that's what they've always done. They're the only innovators. Okay. Now, look, DualSense, Sony did a great job with that. However, yes, all of this technology for the most part was created by Nintendo and then copied over. The Rumble Pack, obviously. So many things, the HD Rumble. Then they put in the haptic feedback. Point is that Nintendo isn't taking all this money and then taking these insane salaries that we see here in the United States. They don't pay their employees an insane amount of money. They take that money that's made, those profits, and they put it into research and development. That's how you want Nintendo to operate, because if they stop operating that way, that's when their future becomes in jeopardy. That's the moment that I say, shoot, they're not playing to win anymore. That's not good, because we might not have Nintendo games anymore. So before people complain, they should try and look at the big picture here. And again, look, dude, again, I worked in finances. I know the world's debt to income ratio. I am well aware of what those numbers are. I know it very intimately, and it sucks. Okay. The fact that everything's going up in price, all this stuff, it all sucks. However, that isn't uncontrollable. You got to focus on what you can control in life, right? Biggest thing, always will be, is your attitude. If you have a shitty attitude towards everything, nothing's going to improve. So a lot of this stuff is very simple. It goes back to the basics. But again, people, they choose the easy way and they go online and complain, which really sucks, because we're not going to get anywhere as a society if we continue to do that. The end.
Good stuff. Hey, I got to get out of here, guys. I actually really agree with what you said, Stash. Like many points you hit on, and the only thing I want to say going out is just that I think this is one of those waves right now because it's a thing, you know, and it's very obvious that it's a thing. But I promise you, this generation is going to mature. Well, some of the missing games are going to come out. People are going to get into the Switch 2 ecosystem that are on the fences right now, seeing all this negativity from the outside, and they're going to realize, holy shit, this is an awesome console that I can play a ton of games on, docked in 4K or on the go, and they're going to start having the fun, and the conversation will shift, in my opinion, ultimately, unless we see Nintendo make some legitimately terrible decisions. I think we're readied up for a pretty good generation, but
I
guys,
agree
thanks-
with you on
thanks-
that.
We're
thanks for
5
having me
months
back.
in.
Yeah. Exactly. 5 months.
5
That's a great
months.
point. Yeah, literally.
It's like
So.
crazy. Anyways, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure having you on the show.
Yeah,
Hey,
great
good
to
seeing
be
you.
here.
You want to show yourself out where you can find you and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Like that?
Sunbro Nation here on YouTube, and if you watch Nintendo Prime, or even, I mean, I do some game reviews that probably not as many as Thunderstash. Gamebird, gosh, it was I watched part of your the vlog video for.
Oh, cool.
Good stuff, dude. Legitimately
Thank
good
you.
stuff. So yeah. I enjoyed the way you put it all together, and it actually felt like I was on the trip. I wish love to be on the trip with you guys. Maybe one day in the future. Hopefully next year I'll try to work
Next
stuff
year.
like that
That'd be
out.
cool,
Yeah.
man.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey.
So anyway, so I enjoy your guys' content. Very similar, topic based. You know what's happening in the Nintendo news sphere daily. It's essentially 6 uploads per week. If a big new game drops, I share my initial thoughts and impressions on those games. And the only other social media that I'm kind of somewhat active on in relation to my channel and everything is X, just because that's where all the gaming news is at. That's where everything drops the fastest. So you'll find me on there posting stuff from time to time. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Oh yeah.
We go, man.
All right.
Appreciate you, brother.
You guys have
See
a
ya.
great
Good
night.
seeing you again.
Take care. Thanks.
Later, man. Eric, what do you
Yeah.
think about this stuff?
It sucks. It just really sucks. I mean, Stash said it comes down to money both ways. What's the fastest way I can make a dollar? Negative things spread like wildfire. So, let's put out something negative. You wonder how many of these people that actually say some of this stuff really actually mean what they say. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of them out there that do, but I'm guessing there's also some of them out there that are just throwing shit out there just because it'll make them money. And that's the part that's kind of dumb. I mean, I understand it. You do you got to make the money. To a certain extent, I get it, but it's just, I just hate how easy it is right now to just kind of create random shit that's just believable enough that, even though it's fake, it's like, come on, why do I have to sort through all this shit to try to decide if it's fake or not? Let's just get back to actually dealing with facts and things like that. I understand difference in opinions, things like that, but when people just make shit up and throw it out there into the universe just to stir the pot, it sucks.
Yeah. And
What's
people
the
don't
easiest
do
way to
their due
engage?
diligence.
Hey, what's the easiest way to engage Nintendo fans?
Oh, shit on Nintendo. It's 100%. Because then
Yeah,
Nintendo
it's
fans
like
come
so
back.
easy.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
they're
and it's
passionate,
also-
and I
they-
appreciate that.
Well, on these platforms, they promote, like, especially like Twitter, ever since they got taken over by the Elon, whatever. I'm not going to say the word. But it's like some of these platforms literally push like negative interactions because it generates more interaction and more whatever. It generates an emotional response.
Emotion.
It's done literally by design. And it's fucked. It shouldn't be that way. The internet wasn't always that way, but we find ourselves in the state that we're in. So, but
That's
yeah,
right.
that's just my little
In it.
piece.
Oh,
on
I was
that.
just gonna say a lot of that, like, I don't even blame Twitter for it. It's all social media. It's the
No,
moment,
yeah, I was just using him as the worst example.
I know, but I was saying the moment what happened is at some point over the last 10 years, all these websites got ran by algorithms. It's all automated.
Mhm.
And they value the interactions. They want to keep you on the platform. They want to keep you engaged. They want to keep you talking. Just so happens, people talk a lot when they're mad.
Yep.
They don't talk a lot when they're happy. Because why would I don't need to talk. I'm happy.
It's just like when you go somewhere and you have a good experience, how many people do you tell? And then how many people do you tell when you have a bad experience? We all talked about this in
Yeah.
the restaurant business when, you know, you give great service, they don't say anything, but the one time you get bad, they tell everybody. This is how the world quite literally works, sadly.
Yeah, I think the problem though is that, and I think it's obvious when you look at like certain people's content, is that people are very vocal when they're upset about something, but a lot of the people making this content wouldn't buy a Switch 2 if it was $200 and the games were still $60. There's a lot of people making content who are just on that bandwagon who've maybe never even played a single Pokemon game ever in their whole life, but are making anti-Pokemon game videos. So it's like even worse. It's like hearing that someone had a bad experience at a restaurant, and so going on Yelp and leaving a really bad review for it based on things you heard from somebody. I don't know. It's weird. And let's just say the restaurant is a food that you don't even like, or you've got a food allergy to, so you would never go there, even if you didn't hear bad things. Like that's what it feels like. And that's not to say like I do believe that there are people on here who are upset about some of Nintendo's decisions this gen. So I'm not saying that
Rightfully
no
so.
making fair points or no one's rightfully upset about anything. I fully believe that there are, but I do think, and I think it's obvious. I think there's some people you could tell like, oh, this person wouldn't even play a Nintendo game if it was $40 or $30 and the Switch 2 was $200. Like they just don't like Nintendo. And so they're just doing content like that. There's people who exist like that for PlayStation and Xbox as well. It's just really loud on the Nintendo front because it's like the cool thing.
Yeah.
I think
PlayStation and Xbox are always sparring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of people still, again, seeing Nintendo as the quote unquote kiddie console. And to see the kiddie console doing as well as it is, you know, it's like, I'm not a kid. I don't want to play that. That's not for me, you know. And I
don't understand that stigma. I feel like the only,
you
I
know,
feel like the only
stuff, you know. But go ahead, Gamer.
Just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just don't understand that stigma that's stuck around because I feel like the only gen, or I guess gen and a half, that you kind of could make that argument was the Wii and Wii U when it aimed for bringing like parents and grandparents and making a much more casual mainstream system that anybody could play and enjoy. Outside of that, I don't understand the kiddie stigma.
It's a lot, I think, to do with a lot of people actually do care about graphics, and because they're not hyper realistic and more cartoonish in a lot of Nintendo's games, that's, you know, makes it feel like it's a cartoon, it's a kid's show, it's a kid's game, it's a even though some of them they've never, like you said, some of them never played the game.
Crazy,
you know, and
that's
they just
wild to me.
Right.
That's interesting.
It's just one of those things that they
tell that
you know,
to all the babies watching shows like Invincible and stuff. All those children out there. You know what I mean?
No, and a lot of these people, you know, they get into their they get into their holes of I'm on the Xbox, I'm a PlayStation person, you know, and they don't want to be wrong, you know, about their choice of what platform they play on. And with somebody else doing quote unquote better than the choice that they made, they feel like it's wrong. They made a wrong choice, and people don't like being wrong, even though it's like you prefer what you prefer. Go play on your PlayStation. That's fine. You like the ultra realistic? That's great. That's the best place to do it. Go play there. You don't have to shit on everything else to do it.
Yes.
Dude,
Plain and
I'm
simple.
simultaneously right now playing Pokemon ZA and Silent Hill F, which I'm
Nice.
loving, and it's like the best. And when I get the TV to myself, I play Silent Hill F. When the kids want to use the TV or the wife
Mhm.
wants to use the TV, I've got my Switch too, and I'm chilling. They're watching TV. I'm catching Pokemon, hunting shinies. It's the best of both worlds, guys. It's video games. Have fun. Enjoy the games you like. If you
Mhm.
don't like a game, don't play it.
Mhm.
It's so wild. It's so
That's
wild.
simple.
And I mentioned this in my Pokemon video. It's like, what happened to the nuance of like even just how we look at games? Like everything's so black and white now. It's so crazy. It's like either a game's a masterpiece or it sucks ass. What happened to like, oh, it's a pretty good game. Yeah, it's fun, but I didn't love it. Or like a decent game. Do those exist anymore? It
No.
was fun, but it wasn't my cup of tea. Does that
Mhm.
exist anymore? Where is that?
No, they don't.
no.
They don't. We talked about this too.
It's
And-
crazy.
It's about that. Look, what does everybody care about? Do they care what IGN gave it? Do they care what GameSpot gave it? Do they care what Nintendo Life? No. They care what the Metacritic score is. And if it's not a certain score, it's not worth playing. I only have so much time and so much money. And I get all of this. Okay. But facts are facts. This is how most people are operating. Okay. Especially in the economy we're in, right? Especially time is money. It always will be. Sometimes people are having to work more now too to make ends meet. And so your leisure time is a lot less and you need to make it count. Right. And I get all this. Like logically, this all makes sense. Totally get it. I understand why, everyone operates for the most part this way. However, it does suck because is that great? Is that a good thing? How many games are getting missed? How many games is no one ever going to play because these websites and whoever at this website decided to review the game didn't like it, right? Like, what happens when an IGN gives a great game a 5 out of 10? What happens when IGN reviews Ukulele and gave it a 7 out of 10 and they reviewed the remaster and said it's better than that and they gave it a 6 out of 10? That's the definition of it. That's idiocracy. Like, go be in the sequel. You
Mhm.
should have been in the movie. And whoever signed off on that review should too. The management as well. If you're the chief editor, what do you do? Like, if I'm at IGN and someone tries to turn in this review and I look it over and say, hold on, did you do any research? Did you look to see what score we gave this? We gave it a 7 out of 10. And in your review, on your bottom line that everyone reads, like we all do, you said it's better than that game, but you gave it a lower score. You can't do that.
Hmm.
That's completely illogical. You missed the assignment here. I need you to either fix this or I'm going to need to reassign it to someone else that uses logic.
Or I could say this: maybe you overinflated the score on the original game.
Mhm.
You should go back and re-review that shit and score it the way that you think it deserves to be scored today.
Sure. But we're not
'Cause that
going to do that.
I know, because opinions change over time. As you
Mhm.
get more experience and play more games, you might now look back on something you previously reviewed and go, okay, maybe that wasn't as great as I initially thought.
But
It's the care that's put into it, though.
The counter with that though, Prime, is I do think that could make sense with like modern releases, but when you go back, if it's an older game that finally got a sequel like 15 years later, it's like the standards, industry standards,
it's hard
stuff
to-
like that.
I'm talking more about like, hey,
Like
if
modern
you reviewed
stuff.
Last of Us Part 3 and now you're playing Part 4 and you say Part 4 is better, but you
Sure.
reviewed it like 2 points lower, it's like, well, okay, you can go back and rethink that Last of Us 3 review again and be like, well, okay, if it's worse and you think it's worse, replay it. Oh, is it worse or did your opinion hold? Maybe then you were wrong in the new review you made. You know what I mean? Like,
My favorite is when you see like, let's say it's a new Dynasty Warriors game and you see the reviewer say in like the first paragraph, I've never really liked the Dynasty Warriors show. It's like, well, then why the hell are you reviewing it?
This is what I'm talking about
Like,
being
you're
being
walking, you're
the
walking
manager.
in with like an yeah.
You're the
I've
editor,
totally
editor in
seen that
chief.
before. By the
Why
way,
are you assigning these games to these reviewers? Like, why are you doing that? They don't like 3D platformers, or they don't like this genre. And then all of us in the world that love 3D platformers, we're like, oh, I can't wait to see what score it's gonna get, right? And then you see it's 5 out of 10. Oh my god, what? How? But and they said it's better than the original, but it got a 5. This sucks. And then you find out, oh, this person hates 3D platformers.
I'll say this. I think there are some value for those reviews. I think if you're a major outlet, and you assign a game to someone who tells you openly they don't like these kind of games, so that's okay. That's the perspective we want from someone who doesn't like these kind of games. Want you to play it and see if maybe this one jives with you, because it could spread it to more people. I think there is value in those kind of reviews, but I think in cases like that, you shouldn't allow review scores. Just do a review, no score, because at that point, the value of the opinion is for those people that don't like these kind of games. What's this game like?
Will you like it? Like,
Yeah.
Like I reviewed Digimon, never played it. Made it clear in my thumbnail, I've never played it. Let's see if I actually like it. I was interested to see if I'd actually like it. Like, I think that is an interesting take, and that is a good way to present the review. However, it was not presented that way at all whatsoever. So be transparent about it. Be like, hey, I hate 3D platformers, right? Let's see if I like this game. And if that's the only review IGN wants to do, then do it. They used to do, back in the day, EGM used to do this. They do second thoughts, or they'd have a second opinion, right? Or be like Famitsu, do a panel. You got 4 people play it and review it. Now, if you have the manpower to do that, right? Woman power, that's what you do, right? You get 4 people to play it. However, that's not realistic. Japan, they kill it over there. I don't see us doing that here.
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm going to get to them in a moment. We have some breaking news.
Well, that's exciting.
We don't get it very often during the podcast, unless, sometimes it'll be like an NSO update or something. Okay, we're good with that. But this is from official Nintendo media. People are calling it a leak. It's not a leak because it's from official media. You can read the headline here. Metroid Prime 4 boss fight leaked.
Oh shit.
And it's in a 15-second ad. So we're about to see official media that's gonna show us a new boss in Metroid Prime 4. So take a look at it quick. Hold on. I'll mute it here. We'll mute it. We'll just take a look at what the fight looks like at some point in here. Okay. All right. Here's Metroid Prime. I haven't seen this yet, so this is my first time. Okay. Oh, there it is.
Oh, cool.
There you go.
Oh,
Pretty cool. See it right there? That's the fight. Cool. So there you go. I'm glad it's not showing much. It's a teaser, right? The fight will be fun to experience firsthand. But I want to throw it out. We don't have to really talk about it much. This will obviously be a huge talking point tomorrow and all the news channels and everything, including my own. But I figured, hey, it's breaking. It's about Metroid Prime 4, which is like one of the biggest games still to come out. So figured I'd show people quick.
Nate, before you jump in with your thoughts, let me make one more point real quick.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. It's one of those things that, is there shit that you can say bad about Nintendo that they've brought on themselves? Absolutely. The ones that are actually speaking the truth of being, hating the price point, that's absolutely valid. That's type of stuff backed up by actual facts. We're not debating that part of it. It's the ones that make up shit, throw it out in the world, and then there's no repercussion for it. That's the part that sucks the most, is that there's no repercussion for it. A lot of these guys just throw shit out there, and then guess what? The next time they come back, throw more shit out there. And it's like, there's just nothing it feels like you can do to, combat this to a certain extent, because it just keeps, nothing happens to them. So
that's a good point. That's a really good point because like there are no consequences. You can make up shit, make a video. It could be a complete lie. That's your whole goal. Is to just like infuriate the other side and see how many people you can see that are emotionally unstable and lure them in. Like you're out there playing Sega bass fishing. And then before you know it, you're making money hand over fist because you didn't just get 1 or 2 fish, you got a ton.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And now they're rolling in the dough based on literally shit they made up. And there's no one there to say, hey, you made up all of this. There is no fact here. And so now you're getting a 1-week ban from making videos. Or now this is there's no repercussions, like you said. There's nothing.
Mhm.
You know, like if you lied about somebody at work and made up all this shit, all this horrible stuff, and it hurt their career, would something happen? If it was provable? Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
But in the world of the internet, do whatever you want. It's a Wild West, sadly. It still is the Wild West. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting as a content creator looking at it in that light. Because it does suck as someone who really believes in the truth, right?
Mhm.
It just
Yeah.
won't go. I won't go in that direction.
But whose truth is it? Whose truth is the actual truth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. On that note, I have to head out. It's about my
Later,
time as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Bye-bye for them.
Got yourself out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I'm doing video essay opinions and stuff like that. I stream every Saturday on my YouTube channel now. I'm on YouTube streaming. And this weekend I'm going to be finishing Pokemon Legends ZA. So if you want to see Pokemon Legends ZA content, I'll have it this weekend. Also this weekend I'm going to drop a video about the Pokemon cycle and what I kind of alluded to here on the podcast earlier. Yeah, got videos coming out every other week, roughly. And yeah, that's me. If you like Nintendo and you like listen to video essays, that's what I'm about. So thanks, everybody.
Can I ask you before you leave really quick? Can I ask you a quick
go ahead.
question?
Please.
Are those Pokemon cards in the background?
These ones? Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
rainbow rares.
I have a question for you. My youngest, he wants to get into Pokemon cards, and he like collecting and like fill a couple of binders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can't find them anywhere. I know there's like a crazy thing with like scalping or
Yeah, it's
Pokemon
really,
investors and stuff.
This is probably the worst time to get into it because Pokemon cards outperform the S&P 500 for the past 10 years.
That's so
which is
stupid.
by
That
like
is
10
so
by like 10
stupid.
points. Like 10 points. It's fucking insane. Yeah, so
I'm just curious what to do because I'm not willing to pay like
so
3
if you're ever
times
gonna
the cost.
if you're ever gonna get market value, you just either have to get really lucky at like Target or something or like Walmart. Barnes and Noble is a good like sleeper hit. Usually people that
Not
stock
more.
usually it stays in stock there.
Sure.
And then you're honestly just ordering when stuff goes live. Like follow the Pokemon company. They will announce like, okay, we have a new set coming out at this date, or just check the Pokemon. It's called Pokemon Center. That's their online storefront. Usually it's all out of stock, but if it comes back to stock, you can find it there as well. It's usually out of stock a lot though.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
but that's
appreciate
like
it. It's very disheartening doing like Google searches. And
yeah,
just,
it's tough.
looking what
And do not buy anything off of do not buy any Pokemon cards online if it's not from the Pokemon Center themselves. Like don't even do like a Walmart redistributor, don't do Amazon, don't do any of that. There's very easy ways to like basically open the packs, reseal them, and sell it with no hits.
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah.
Yes.
True.
So if you're gonna get it, you got to get it in person. Card shops is okay. Sometimes you can find a local card shop that sells at or maybe just slightly above market value. That's usually another really good place to find it.
Okay.
So,
Hey, what about Costco and Best Buy? I get texts from them and emails all the time when they have drops.
I don't know about Best Buy, but I do know about Costco. Costco sometimes though the scalpers are pretty.
I've seen the videos on.
They're pretty privy to that
media.
one. So I mean, some people have a better luck with Costco than others. I think it depends on like where you live and what's around you. I know the ones in my areas, they get destroyed. I live in a very big metropolitan. I live in the DC area, so like I
Yeah.
a lot of stuff is hard to find for me. I usually end up having to go to the local card shop.
Sure.
But yeah, find a local card shop that sells at a pretty decent rate. And then maybe like I would say check out Costco, see if they have it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Forward
the knowledge, man. Yeah, I felt bad because I just can't find them anywhere. But
I know,
I
right?
appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. All right, fellas, you have a great rest of your night. Thanks for having me on again. I'm excited to be
Cool.
on in a few weeks for Kirby Air Ride.
Hell
Have
yeah.
a good night, man.
See you.
Jazz.
Bye-bye.
Gamebird, I just
You
thought of
there?
something that's off the wall here a little bit. Talk to Jake Randall. Have him talk to his store reps to see if they can find a Pokemon rep to give the insides of when they're going to drop.
Pokemon drops. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Already then. Back to the topic at hand. I haven't talked about it yet. I'm going to start first with somebody who dropped a 50 bomb earlier because they had an interesting comment on this whole situation. Ben's 310 says, I couldn't buy things I wanted when I was small. Never complained. Of course, we're kids, right? Grew up, got a career. Now I buy the shit I want. Many millennials and boomers and Gen Z people wanted Mario in 4K or enhanced. They captured a market. Sony and Xbox couldn't. I think it's an interesting point. I think it's a very interesting point to make because, you know, when you're kids, we don't really care about a lot of this crap, like at all. We've talked about like before how kids don't care about graphics. Kids don't care about a lot of stuff because you just don't know. You don't know the cost of things. You don't understand the cost of things. And even if your parents tell you it's expensive, you don't really get any of this until you're older. And when you're older, it's your money. Do whatever the hell you want with it. You might be completely irresponsible with it and end up back on the street. But hey, it's your money. Do whatever the hell you want, right? Make your mistakes in life, or maybe it ends up not being a mistake. Bottom line is that this negativity with Nintendo, I feel like it's always existed. I'm going to start with that. I think I've been on the internet for a long time. I've been making Nintendo content for a long time. I tell you that the negativity around Nintendo's always been around. There used to be a website, it might still exist, nintendoisdoomed.com. It's a meme website because Nintendo's always doomed because people have been attacking Nintendo dating all the way back to the 90s. We know about this from the playground
Oh,
argument.
God, yes.
We know about this
Game-
before the internet was really prevalent.
Please touch on the GameCube era.
Oh, jeez. The GameCube era was insane. The point is that, like, there's been this going back pretty much to the beginning. Maybe, I don't know if it was, like, really prevalent with the NES, but once SNES and Sega Genesis went at it, from that point forward, there's been obviously console wars that does fuel some of this. There's definitely console wars that fuel some of it. But then also just people wanting to justify their purchase by putting down everyone else. That's usually what console wars are about. By the way, I don't care if you were a Sega kid growing up. I hope you had a damn good time. There's a lot of good shit on Sega.
Lot.
Like, I'm not here to this. You know, it's like when people ask me my opinions on what is it? Like on piracy or whatever. Yeah, I don't pirate games. I don't really even emulate games. But if you do, more power to you. I don't give a shit. Do what you want. I ain't your parents. I got my own kids to worry about. Do whatever the hell you want, man. It's your life.
It's your life.
Yeah.
It's your conscience. You do what you want, bro.
Yeah. If you think you're morally right to do it, who am I to tell you otherwise? Your morals are your morals. I'm not your mama
Yeah.
to tell you that you're
You wouldn't stop anyone in the street and tell them, right?
Who cares?
No different.
Like, you can care to a point, like, you know, you can care a little bit if like a developer comes out and says, hey, we got like an indie studio. Hey, we got to close down our studio. And that really sucks considering there's 2 million people pirating our game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel bad for the developer in a case like that. But how many stories like that do we hear? We don't really hear a lot of stories like that. We hear stories about how they might impact some of them, but they're still around. They're still making games. So they're just not making as much money as maybe they could. But in the end, I don't care. And we're talking about Nintendo, one of the richest companies in Japan. Do I give a shit if you pirate games? Of course I don't. Would I do it? No.
Yeah. I would
But-
never promote it.
Yeah, I wouldn't promote it.
I don't promote it because I would
I don't
morally
care if you do it.
do it. But if you do it, like, there's nothing I can do to stop you from doing it.
Yeah. So what's the
And I'm
point
not
of me
the
yelling at
police.
you? Yeah. What's the point of me yelling at you or shaming you or name calling you? I think what's
Yes.
interesting, I think what bothers me the most about this negativity and stuff, I'm not going as far as the whole mental illness thing and everything that you guys went into. And I'm sure that plays a role. There's mental illness on the shill side too. I'm going to tell you that right now. I know.
Absolutely.
I'm a professional Nintendo
Oh,
shill, and
yeah.
I'm not right in the head. So
It's
Listen,
all
the
over,
truth
brother.
is, the truth is, I was being lighthearted. I'm having fun with it, but the truth is, I think we're all a little mentally ill. You, me, everyone here in the audience tonight.
look, I wasn't in therapy for 15 years because there was nothing wrong, right? But and I think I might have realized I might be a little OCD about the way people use words. I think I just realized that today. Really bothers me when people misuse words like objective when what you're talking about is not objective. I shouldn't give a shit, but it really bothers me when people misuse words. I've been noticing it's not just that; it's a lot of words I keep correcting people on, and I'm like, why am I doing this? They're not going to give a fuck. It's a waste of my time to keep correcting people on this shit. But I think it's my OCD that is specific with that. Maybe I have it in other parts of my life and I never realized it, but I definitely know that I'm realizing it with words. And I didn't even think it was a thing. Then I asked my therapist, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing." I'm
I
like,
saw it
"Oh,
a lot with disc profiles.
I definitely have that. I definitely have that problem with words being used incorrectly. But whatever. I used to say, "Oh, you're just illiterate." You're not really illiterate. It's cultural. You know, people try to change the definitions of things, try to apply it to things it doesn't do, and I hate it. You know, it's like how the word gay went from being happy to homosexual. That would have bothered me back in the day when that started changing because gay has a definition. It means happy. Why the fuck are we using it to describe a homosexual? It's completely. Are you saying you got to be a homosexual to be happy? Is that what we're talking about? What the fuck's happening?
The only like weird pet peeves I have with that sort of stuff is when people use the wrong theirs, yours, or like that. Always like just use the right one.
Yeah. That's just people when people use the wrong like that's just people just not knowing or caring enough.
Possessive
School.
location.
Yeah, I'm not as bothered about that because I realize that that's just people not paying attention in school or just not caring or being lazy or it's autocorrect. I don't really care about that. I know what they mean. Like if they use the wrong there, I know what there you should be using. I get what you mean. It's okay. But when they use words that literally you're doing the opposite of the definition of that word, it just bothers I know what you mean.
You mean figuratively? No.
You mean figuratively. You mean subjectively. You mean in your opinion. No, you don't mean objectively because objectively is just facts. Facts don't care about feelings.
Yeah, well, I'm literally dying right now.
Do about how you feel has to do about facts. You can't say it's that as an example, Pokemon Legends EA is objectively a bad game. No, it's not because if you look up how we perceive things to be bad, it's actually perception. Something being bad is perception based.
This goes back to what I was saying earlier about how did things become so black and white? Where's the dude?
Nuance.
Everything in life is gray. Life is gray. Doesn't matter if it's at home and the political stuff. There's stuff that benefits some people, stuff that doesn't benefit other people. There's going to be things that you find funny, things that other people don't find funny. It's so weird, or kind of funny, or
someone's
sort of
doing
funny.
it in my chat right now. This is what I mean by I should let it. I should let go of my OCD with words. Because there's this guy in the chat, Pluto, who said it's objectively bad compared to other games. No, it's subjectively bad because that's your opinion that it's bad compared to other games. Someone else might think it's great compared to other games. That's the thing. That's an opinion. That's not a fact. It's not factually bad. Things can't be factually bad or good. Believe it or not, look up definitions of good or bad. Literally, things can't factually be that. It's all perception based.
Yeah, subjective opinion. The term. We did subjective reviews at Islands every quarter where I have to go around and give the whole restaurant top to bottom. It takes about 12 hours. You have other managers come in. You do it the whole day, and you have to fill out a subjective review top to bottom and be honest about it. Because if you're not, somebody else is going to come over the top from corporate. It's a subjective review. It's based on how I view the restaurant, right?
Yeah, and it's sort of funny because he's going to the extreme now in the chat. Last time I wanted to address this says, "What about ET versus Ocarina of Time?" Yeah, I think Ocarina of Time's a better game. That's my opinion.
ET?
There could be someone who loves ET.
But that's subjectively.
Like, I
No.
don't think it's a good
Better
game, and I can give you all the reasons I think it's a bad game.
ET the movie versus Zelda the
He's
game?
talking about
No,
the game.
the Atari.
The Atari game that was that most people think is really bad.
Oh yeah.
Despite most people thinking it's bad, there is a likelihood that someone out there, it was their favorite game that they ever played. Like, that is more than possible.
Yeah,
So-
and the thing about that is we could talk about the things that we don't like about it, but there's no objectiveness with that. It's based on your perception. I think Return to Zork is amazing. Most people are not going to think it's amazing. I think Zelda 2 is one of the best Zelda games ever made. Most people don't agree with me.
Mhm.
That's okay. And even if everyone's in agreement that something's bad or everyone's in agreement that something's good, let's say everyone in the world thinks ET is a bad game. It's still what we think. It's not objectively that way. It's our subjective popular stance that it is that way. Anyways, this is my problem.
Oh.
See, I'm OCD about words. I'm not even talking about the damn topic.
Mhm.
So getting back to this, I guess it's semi-related. I feel like a lot of this discourse, some of it is definitely rooted in real frustration. You guys talked about it before, financial situations as an example. We came off of COVID, and a lot of people aren't doing well financially. My parents aren't doing well right now. I'll use a personal example. They're not doing well. To the point that I might be saving their house. So it's an interesting situation watching the world struggle sometimes with the finances and the way the prices are skyrocketing, and all of this stuff. Not just in the US. I've heard some stuff from other countries, but I don't pay enough attention to that to really get into it. But things are getting expensive. They just are. And so when you see Nintendo releasing a platform that's more expensive than ever before, yeah, that's a shocker to people. Now, maybe if it was $400, only $50 higher, maybe it wouldn't have been as much of a shocker. When you go to the store, and at least at launch, seemingly the only thing available day one was like $500 system. You have to buy it with the bundle because they didn't have as many of the non-bundle ones. It creates this perception.
This console price conversation, I'm sorry, Prime, it's so annoying to me because the Switch 2 is a good price. You literally get the console, you get a dock, and you get 2 controllers in box.
Yes.
I'm
literally not disagreeing with you. Okay.
Yeah, I know you're not. It's just
we literally have fact-based information that before the tariffs went up an extra 10% for Nintendo, that it costs $410 per unit to get it to retail. That $40 difference there, that's not Nintendo profits. That $40 difference is retail profit on the system sold. So we already know that, with Nintendo having to eat an extra 10%, Nintendo might be even selling the damn thing for a loss in the US right now. That's how crazy things have gotten. So no, I don't think it's a bad price when the company that's making it is either breaking even or selling it for a loss or maybe profiting $5 to $10. I don't think it's wrong to profit on the things you make. All right. So yeah, I think that there is a disconnect there from reality because we look at Japan and they're like, oh, dude, it's a different economy. It's a different world. And when Japan's yen bounces back, it's just as expensive as it is here. It is what it is. They didn't change the price of the Switch there. The Switch is also cheaper than it is here. Why? Because the yen tanked in value, not because they lowered the price. They didn't lower the price there. The world economy changed. And guess what? The taxes are different there. It can be cheaper to get it there. The ones that come to Japan are made in China. Did you know it's cheaper to manufacture and assemble the system in China than it is in Vietnam? You probably didn't know that because you didn't do your damn research. You know why they don't bring that system to the US? Because the taxes are so damn high on China to bring it to the US. It actually doesn't make financial sense to do it. It actually makes it more expensive than coming from Vietnam. But you guys don't do your research. You don't know any of this shit. And that's what happens with this negative stuff is they base it on surface level bullshit. They don't dive into the economics of it all. No, Switch 2 is not overpriced here in the US and because it's cheaper in Japan. It's cheaper in Japan because they're dealing with different economic situation there that you don't understand because you don't live there and you haven't bothered to do basic fucking research about where their systems come from and how much cheaper it is for this. By the way, a lot of this is public data. It's in shipping manifest. You can literally look it up. You got to pay like $10 to
Prime.
get access to it. But anyways,
From what I can gather, it is honest assessment. Everything you
Yeah.
just said, first off, totally agree. But from what I've gathered, there's a large majority of people that are not familiar with costs being different in different regions, and like they wouldn't even think to look it up because they're unaware that this is a thing. I mean, we've seen this on display.
yeah,
I think
there's
I
a lot of
watched a
people
live
that don't-
stream about this.
There's a lot of people that I think don't even realize that all the
You
systems
remember?
in the US come from Vietnam. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Without
And there's a-
naming names, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think there's a lot of people that don't even realize the U.S. systems all come from Vietnam and why they come from Vietnam instead of China. People don't realize why the PlayStation 5 and Xbox have gone up because all of their systems come from China to the U.S. So they're being hit super hard with the tariffs. So it's gotten to a point that, yeah, they take losses when they sell their systems, but the losses are so extreme that they had to raise the price. This is all playing a role, right? And there's other factors as well. Consoles are actually not dropping in price at manufacturing level anymore because of COVID. After COVID and all the declines in the economies, normally consoles get cheaper to manufacture over time overseas. That's not actually happening this time. The last 5 years, nothing's gotten cheaper to make in China. Nothing. Literally nothing's cheaper to make there. It costs the same to make a Nintendo Switch Tegra X1 chip today as it did 5 years ago. It didn't actually get cheaper. It's crazy. That's insane to think about that. Like this system, let's think of the 2015 chip. Why is it not going on? Because the world economy changed. We're not used to it because before this generation, that's not the way things were. We were in a different economy. Things got cheaper to make over time. It's not happening right now. Will it happen again someday? Probably. I don't think we're going to stay in this for the next 20 years, 50 years. You know, it's going to go back the other direction. I don't know if things will ever get cheaper per se, but at least prices will like I'll give you an example. PlayStation 6, let's say it launches at $1,000. I wouldn't be surprised if like 6 years later it's $800 because we might be in a different economy then. And things might get cheaper to make then, and they'll lower the price over time. Like we're accustomed to consoles getting cheaper over time. So the first generation, that's not the case, and it actually went the opposite way. Switch has gone up in price, right? Xbox up in price twice. Switch 2 hasn't gone up in price, but there's expectations it may go up in price next year. We'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping that Nintendo holds because I think that, you know, they're not that far away from the yen bouncing back and things turning around. I think it's on the horizon. Might be a few years, but I do think that Nintendo's going to be in a good place if they hold. If they go up, you know, that kind of continues the narrative, and we'll see if it keeps selling. We'll see if a $500 base price, a $550 bundle, or if it goes up $100. We'll see if that can keep selling, if the market will bear it. What I will say is a lot of this negativity to me isn't just based on misinformation or a lack of research. It's also based on some confirmation bias. Talked about this in a prior video. We all have it. I have it as well. The data I just brought up is my confirmation bias to let you know the system isn't too expensive. But you can come up with your reasons you think it is, such as our wages not matching inflation, and all this other stuff. You can come up with all the reasons. We have less money than ever, yada, yada, yada. The Steam Deck's cheaper, right? You can come up with whatever reasons you want. That even with the price increase to the Xbox Series S, it's still cheaper. Cool. And they, you know, Steam Deck might have comparable performance. Series S in general performs better. Cool. I get it. The volumes they're selling are much less, but you know, that's okay. What matters to me about this negativity stuff is not, I'm not even mad at the content creators. I'm not going to call them grifters because a lot of people do that. And I'm not even so sure that's the case. I think some of them just generally feel this way. They're just sharing their genuine feelings. You know, when they say things like we're pro-consumer, right? Like we're trying to, because like one thing that they do have right that hasn't been brought up yet. And I give them credit for this because people don't talk about it a lot outside of when they're mad. is the reason they care about the price of things is because, as an example, if everyone's buying Mario Kart World at $80 like crazy, it can normalize an $80 price point for other games, not just from Nintendo, but from other companies. Now, that didn't happen. Mario Kart World's mostly being bought as a bundle. $80 game. Microsoft tried it, got massive backlash, and backed off it. So it didn't get normalized, at least not yet. So I think that's where people say, well, if a bunch of people buy this thing or do this thing or okay, and we already know this to be true, why do we have microtransactions like crazy in so many games and all this nickel and diming? Us consumers allowed it to happen by continuing to buy the games that do it and then spending the money on all these microtransactions. Now, I'm not saying we all did it. We all didn't contribute to that, but many people did. Enough people that it's still happening to this day. But we are seeing some of the fallout from that today. As Gamer was pointing out with Sony, we're seeing that, consumers are kind of sick of it. They're not willing to keep getting nickel and dimed on every fucking video game. In fact, if you're going to nickel and dime me, at least make it free to play.
Mm-hmm.
At least make it free to play. You want to do season passes like Fortnite? People don't bitch about that. Let it be. It's free to play. You don't get a competitive advantage. It's just all cosmetics. Cool. Let it be. It's free to play. Oh, $200 for Star Wars Outlaws? And you're going to nickel and dime me on top? Okay, yeah, we're not cool with that. So there is some pushback now because people got a little tired of it. And so now it's not working with every game. And I think you're going to start seeing this stuff get pared back a little bit more. We're already seeing it. Expedition 33 didn't nickel and dime you. Probably winning game of the year this year, right? Universal praise from everyone. Excellent game. So the market, to me, will always correct itself. It just might take a while. So if you don't like what Nintendo's doing and people spending money on it and say it sets new standards that you don't like, cool. And when it gets to a point that the market can't handle it anymore, people stop spending the money. And then the market corrects itself. Might be 10 years. I don't know. So I don't worry about it because bottom line is we don't have infinite money. So there's no infinite money glitches in life unless you're, I guess if you're like the mega rich, you go take a shit and you made $100 million in the time it took you to get off the pot. Yeah, okay. You have the infinite money glitch. I'm not saying you didn't earn it. I'm not even mad at you about it. Maybe you inherited it.Maybe you earned it. I have no idea. You invested well, whatever the hell happened. But I think a lot of this negativity, I'm not going to sit there and say it's driven by money because the bottom line is there was a certain content creator that put out there that said us talking about this at all is us being motivated by money. So everyone's calling each other grifters on both sides. I think that's a very interesting dichotomy. And maybe someday should be studied psychologically on why both sides are doing it.
I think that you only really need to watch I don't know. I don't.
Your best buddy.
I'm so busy. I don't have the time. I barely have time to watch videos that I'm excited about, let alone all the angry or negative stuff. But from the ones that I have seen, I feel like it only takes a couple moments or a couple minutes to know if someone's genuinely passionate about what they're talking about or bothered by something, as opposed to someone who's just making a video for the sake of making it. I don't think it's that difficult to discern what's actually coming from the person's heart,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't like I'm a person that doesn't like that.
The game's close.
Yeah, the game must be really
It
close.
is.
Which is insane because they were down 20 plus points at one point.
Yeah, I know.
But they came back and they have the lead at the moment. His Suns. It's a tight game in the fourth quarter. The Stash will do his thing over there.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually kind of curious. I'm gonna bring up the game cast for it at least. So I can see what happens.
I hope you're not ahead of my game.
Well, I'm not gonna react one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't care if they win.
Okay.
So if it's ahead, it's whatever. I won't say anything. I'm gonna just talk about the topic. I gotta say that the negativity, yeah, we could talk about being dry for clicks and the algorithm and all this. I've talked about it too. I just what I hate about it is, and it's not, well, it comes from some of the content creators, but there seems to be this vitriol that because we have a difference of opinion on things, and again, the word objective gets tossed around with some of the stuff, which is totally not objective. Like Nintendo having what is it? Some sort of I forgot what policy it was. I don't know. There was some sort of policy that they had that a bunch of people were hating on, and I'm like, this is objectively bad, and I'm like, well, no, you don't like it. I didn't like that my mom spanked me when I was a kid. Doesn't mean that it was bad. You know, maybe I deserved it. You know, like there's some nuance in this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like Nintendo's got all these policies against piracy. Do you have all the facts, or do you only have the one side? You know, like Nintendo goes after the emulators and the piracy stuff. Do you know why they do it? Do you know what they know about the situation and how it's affected their business? Like, yeah, they're a big multi-billion-dollar business, but how much bigger could they be if this stuff wasn't going on? You know, like Nintendo has all these metrics that we don't have because they don't have to give it to us. So it's not objectively bad. You just don't like it. And that's okay to not like it. I don't give a shit one way or another. But I feel like the discourse has gotten to the point that it's turned into vitriol, and I hate that. The amount of insults lobbed my way on the daily because I said something like I didn't like an AI image that was made, that someone did an AI image to show what Pokemon could look like, and I didn't like it. The AI image, I thought it was trash. That wasn't me saying that I thought Pokemon Legends EA looked good. That was me saying that I'd rather have it look the way it does than look like that. That's all I was saying. That has nothing to do with the fact that I think Legends EA looks good, but I'm a shill because I didn't like an AI slop image. Or I missed the point because what? It's a different graphic style. It's not even good lighting. There was nothing good in that image. It just represented a different graphic style. But this is what happens. There's all this vitriol, and it's being slung at people like me. And it's being slung at other content creators. You guys might have seen it. I know Gamebird's had some negative comments pop up in his channel sometimes. Like,
oh, God.
The mudslinging. And the thing is, it's so disrespectful. They say like such like mean things that I don't know. I can't speak for the whole Nintendo fan base or like the people happy with Switch 2, but I know I'm not slinging it back. I'm not calling them names. I'm not attacking these YouTubers and calling them a whole bunch of crap. But they sure as hell will do it to me. Why? Why? I don't know. And that's what bothers me. Is more so the mudslinging that's happening. Like we're back on the playground bitching about you looked at my girl funny. Like, what the fuck are we doing? He's so happy over there. Yeah. If you guys are listening to the audio version of this later, we're good. Stash is watching the Suns game, and it's really close. They just looks like they're probably going to win, but we'll see. We'll see.
Jump into about 3.5 hours into the video version, and
you'll see Stash going wild because it is exciting when your team comes back when they were down that much. It's pretty crazy. I'll have to watch some of the highlights of it later to see what happened. I love NBA, not just the Bucks. But yeah, I think there's just a lot going on with the online vitriol, and you know whether it's doing it for views because algorithm is favoring it, whether it's because of you know just wanting to be right, whether it's just also fueling people that already dislike Nintendo and now they just feel like, oh, now everyone's joining my side, or it's legit fans upset. I get it. You can legitimately feel how you feel, and it is totally legit. If you think Nintendo is greedy and scummy and they don't give effort with their games and this console is half-baked, and those are valid opinions. I'm never going to tell you you're wrong about your opinions. I will present my opinions and try to back it up, but your opinions are valid for you. I'm not here to tell you otherwise. It's just frustrating. I think the word is frustrating, and I'm not frustrated about the views they get. I'm frustrated about how people who like the games or like the system are being treated by those people. That's what bothers me. It's like this massively unbalanced thing where happy with some of the stuff or all of it or whatever, hates all of it. The people who hate it, rah, 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 attack beat them up, you know? Why? You're not going to change our minds. You're just going to make us dislike you even more. I don't get it. See, at least when sports fans, like Packer fans and Bear fans, give each other shit, we know it ain't serious. We're just shit talking because it's fun. But when the other person's not participating, it ain't fun.
Mm-hmm.
That person's just getting bullied, basically. Modern day version of bullying. Now, do I give a fuck? I don't give a shit what anyone thinks about me. But I think it's sad because I watch as they attack me, and then they'll attack people who agree with me. And I'm like, come on, man. Makes me wonder if I should even make my content or post my posts. Because now people who agree with me are getting attacked. And maybe they wouldn't be if I didn't make my post or make my video. Sucks. But life moves on.